That's satisfying. I've been looking forward to getting my hands on this for a while. I ordered this lens within 5 minutes of it being available online. So now that I've gotten the lens and I've had a little bit of time to play around with it, I'm looking to see if I can answer the question, is this my perfect everyday lens? Now, the lens that I'm talking about is the Viltrox 26mm f2.8, a compact, lightweight lens that only costs $300. Is this something that can go into my everyday kit? Could this even be a lens to replace my current everyday camera lens, Zeiss 35mm? Ever since I got the Sony A7C II, I've been looking for more compact lenses to pair with it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have a compact camera body if the lenses you're going to find are bulky and big. Defeats the whole purpose of having everyday setup. So I've been looking for something that is much smaller but also more affordable. Sony does have a line of G lenses that are very compact. They're very premium, but they're also quite expensive for what you get. Most of the lenses are around $700. You may be able to find them as low as $600 new. And if you want to get one that's used, it's still going to cost you at least $500. Somewhere I heard that Viltrox is going to be dropping a pancake lens. I thought this could be a good alternative. So the Viltrox is actually what you would consider to be a pancake lens. It's something that's small enough to fit in your pocket, and whenever you mount it onto the front of a compact camera, it adds very little weight. It doesn't feel like it's a burden to carry it around, which makes it perfect if you're looking for something that allows you to take it around with you every day, or if you want to go traveling but you don't want to have a huge setup. This one seems to fit all of that criteria very well. I have been able to take it through its paces, just going on various photo walks, taking it with me whenever I go out to get coffee, just walking around town. I have been able to use it, and I'm fairly confident that this is going to be something that I'll be using for quite some time because it's just enjoyable to use. It's something that I love to use. It makes me want to take out my camera to shoot. I could dive into all the technical specs that I want about it, but really the thing that I care most about it is it something that is enjoyable? Is it something that I really want to use? It's not going to be so much of a burden to take out with me. Now let's talk about the focal length because I originally thought a 26 might not work for the type of photography that I like to do, but after using it for a while, I'm actually very surprised. It's not a 35 obviously, but it does give you a good amount of wiggle room. It allows you to capture the full scene whenever it comes to just everyday usage. If I want to take my camera out to snap a few scenes, it's very helpful. And having that little bit of extra distance in there does allow me to capture some things like buildings or get a wider look at a scene than I would if I was using something like a 35. 26 allows me a little bit more room while not being as wide as something like a 24 and introducing a potential distortion whenever you get very close to objects. Would it have been my first choice for this lens? No. And honestly, if they can throw 35 millimeters in this type of compact lens, then I would definitely pick it up. But I do think it is a workable range. It works great for an everyday carry, for a number of reasons. One, you have the portability. It is tiny. And when you put it onto your camera, it still makes the setup seem like it's very small. Now, it's probably not going to be pocketable unless you have extremely large pockets, but it is something that if you throw into a small sling bag or if you have a purse that you can toss it in, it is very convenient. You don't really seem to notice it that much whenever it's in your bag. And if you take it out and you want to shoot with it, it's inconspicuous enough that it's not going to draw a lot of attention. And that's big whenever it comes to having a camera that you want to shoot with, because the less barriers you have in place to pull it out and take a shot, the better the camera's going to be. When it comes to image quality, I'm not big on pixel peeping myself, but I've yet to see an image come out of this camera that I didn't like. I'm not noticing too many aberrations whenever it comes to the way the images look. Sure, you can get some vignetting whenever the lens is wide open, but that's not a huge issue. Most cameras have that whenever they're wide open, and if you take it into Lightroom, it's pretty easy to correct that very quickly. But I kind of like the way that it feels. It gives it a little bit more character to the image. It allows you to focus a little bit more on your subject, but that could be an issue for some people. For me, I just really don't find it to be one. And I could go on all day about the image quality, but I don't feel like I'm the most qualified to do it. So what I'm going to do is just put some images up here on the screen and let you take a look so you can judge what the quality is and if this is worth it coming out of a $300 lens. But the thing that really surprised me, the thing I wasn't expecting, was how good the minimum focusing distance on this is. When I'm out shooting, a lot of times I want to grab textures. I want to get close up to objects like flowers, maybe even like small bugs that are flying around. And I was surprised that this lens is actually able to get me up close and personal with a lot of subjects, and I don't have any issue with the focusing. It's not quite a macro lens, you can't get that close, but for what you get in this size lens, I'm fairly surprised that I can get quite close to objects and still be able to get an in focus shot. Now, let's talk about some of the compromises. I realized that a $300 lens is not exactly going to give you everything that you want to have. There are a couple of things that can be issues. Some people are going to say cons. I'm just going to call them compromises. So the first compromise that you are going to have to deal with whenever it comes to using this lens is with filters. Luckily, unlike their 28mm pancake lens, this does accept filters. But there's a catch. For this lens, you have to actually use their lens hood in order to attach a filter. You can't attach it directly on the lens. It doesn't have any filter threads built into it. I don't think it's that big of an issue because their lens hood is quite small. I don't know if I'm ever going to find many reasons to actually have to take that hood off the shoot with. What I find to be more of an issue is the fact that it has a 43mm thread size, which is pretty uncommon. I don't think I have any other camera, or I've ever seen any other camera that uses a 43mm thread size, especially for Sony lenses. So if you decide that you want to purchase a filter specifically for this instead of using a step-up ring, just be aware that you're probably only going to be able to use that particular filter on this lens. It's not going to get a whole lot of use with any other ones you have. Another compromise that really borders on being an annoyance for me is that the aperture ring on this thing is inverted. Now, it's nice that they have an aperture ring at all, so I'm not going to complain too much about this one, but it is a little bit weird that it is inverted. And by that, I mean that the majority of filter rings that you'll find on any lens starts at f2.8 and then works its way up to the maximum aperture. Whereas on this lens, it starts at f16 right off the bat and then works its way down to 2.8 or up to 2.8, however you want to say it. It's a little bit odd, and I've had a number of times whenever I have just gone based on muscle memory, only to realize I'm at f16 and the rest of my settings are trying to compensate for the lack of light coming into the lens. So you do have to be aware of that. If you're somebody that's a big aperture ring user, it could be a problem. The biggest problem for me, and how it kind of falls into the everyday usage of it, is it just kind of makes it awkward. It kind of puts up a barrier and it makes it a little less frictionless. I have to think more if I'm going to use the aperture ring because, I end up being f16. Now I've got to look down at the lens to see what my aperture is set at. So it kind of disrupts that whole flow. But, you know, I easily mitigate it just by using the control behind the camera, and it may be something that I get a little bit more comfortable with as I've used the lens more. I've only had this thing for about 2 or 3 weeks now, so as time goes on, it may just be something that kind of fades into the background. I don't even think about it. I do think that this is probably the perfect companion. I am very surprised that Viltrox was the first one to kind of step in and do this. Honestly, this might be a lens that I use more than my 35mm Zeiss, which has been the only everyday lens I have to carry with me everywhere I go. So I've been really enjoying the time that I have with it. I'll give more thoughts as I go along, especially if I find any issues with it. But so far, for me, it's just worked perfectly, and I really enjoy using it, which is the biggest thing whenever you're looking at having an everyday carry lens.